Field. Jake Lamb at third base. Paul Goldschmidt over at first. J.D. Martinez with a 2-homer game yesterday will be out in right field again. Chris Owings at second base tonight. Ketel Marte with the inside the Parker yesterday. He'll be at shortstop. Chris Iannetta doing the catching for right-hander Zach Godley.
Cardinals a game under 500 this year. They're 50-51, but they're only 3.5 games behind the Cubs NL Central lead. They're 7 out of a wild card spot, so they are still in the discussion here, but they don't have their best pitchers, Bob, going in this series. As we mentioned an hour ago, the Diamondbacks caught a real break here. They missed Carlos Martinez, who pitched earlier this week, and now Adam Wainwright is on the DL, so Weaver starts tonight.
Well, and of course, you never know what you're going to get out of Luke Weaver. Our first look at him at the major league level. Tremendous numbers at AAA Springfield Memphis this season. Big, tall right-hander. Mentioned he was a first-round pick back in 2014 out of Florida State. Just tremendous numbers in AAA. We'll see what he does here tonight.
Yeah, Adam Wainwright injured his back just before his last start against the Cubs. Pitched a good ball game there. Felt something of his stretching getting loose, and they're hoping he'll only miss one start. So it's a chance for your Ram truck starter, the righty Luke Weaver. He did pitch in the big leagues a handful of games last year, just his third big league appearance this season, and his first start called up from AAA Memphis. And Bob, as you mentioned, the numbers at Memphis have been outstanding.
Very impressive, averaging better than a strikeout per inning, only 14 walks in 66 innings of work. Opponents managed only a .203 batting average against him, 3 home runs in those 66 innings of work.
Yeah, Weaver, a Pacific Coast League All-Star, Coast League Pitcher of the Month in May. He has made a pair of appearances with the Cardinals this year, but both were in relief. Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at St. Louis's defense tonight.
That's Harrison Bader. He'll be out in center field, flanked by Tommy Pham in left, Randall Grichuk in right. Greg Garcia will be at third base, Paul DeJong at shortstop, Colton Wong over at second base, Matt Carpenter at first base, Carson Kelly doing the catching tonight for Yadier Molina, and he'll be receiving pitches from a guy he's very familiar with, caught him down in AAA, Luke Weaver.
There is Sam Holbrook. He's got the balls and strikes tonight. The crew chief behind the plate. Greg Gibson is at first base, Jim Wolf at second, and DJ Rayburn at third. We're just about set to go, but Bob, I think we have time for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Well, we're going to try as best we can tonight to defuse the bomb squad for the St. Louis Cardinals. We mentioned no Wainwright tonight, no Martinez in this series. Dexter Fowler's on the disabled list. Steven Piscotty's on the disabled list. No Yadier Molina or Jed Jerko tonight. So let's defuse the bomb.
Well, we'll get it started with David Peralta, who will lead it off against Luke Weaver on a muggy, overcast, and wet night here in St. Louis. But we believe the worst of the weather is come and gone, so fingers crossed. And we should be good to go for the rest of this weekend. First pitch fastball, big swing and a miss from David. We're underway. He's hitting .316 with 10 home runs. Diamondbacks expecting a fastball between 91 and 95 from Weaver. Took something off that time, and it's quickly 0-2. He can sink it, he can cut it. He's got a really good changeup. That's his out pitch. Comes in about mid-80s or so. He's got a slow curveball as well.
And you learn something every day you come to the ballpark, partner. I didn't know they gave Rawlings Gold Glove Awards to college players, because Luke Weaver won one while he was at Florida State for his defensive work out there on the mound.
First round pick out of Tallahassee by the Cardinals in the draft only 3 years ago. He was their Friday night starter. 1-2, a fastball up.
David Peralta making his 11th career start as a leadoff hitter. He's hit .318 as a leadoff man. He's been getting on base at a .375 clip. He's slugging .636 as a leadoff hitter.
Really working out well so far. The new Fab Five lineup with Peralta leading off and A.J. Pollock in the 2-hole. And it's Lamb, Goldie, and J.D. Martinez. This is popped up third base side. Garcia's over there in fair territory. Weaver retires Peralta. Now he'll work to A.J. Pollock, who had 5 hits in the Atlanta series, including a couple of doubles and a home run, hitting an even .300 with 5 homers. A.J.'s just been hammering fastballs lately, especially fastballs up in the strike zone.
And A.J. Pollock finds himself in that rocking chair in the lineup. David Peralta getting on base a lot in front of him as the leadoff guy, and Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, J.D. Martinez hitting behind him. He's been getting a lot of fastballs.
You can see where Carson Kelly, the catcher, has been setting up down and away for those fastballs. Carson Kelly has caught most of Weaver's starts at AAA Memphis this season. They've both been down there just about all year long, so they have a lot of familiarity with each other, the pitcher and the catcher here tonight. Another fastball down and away. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1 on Pollock with Lamb on deck.
Now this lineup switch moving David Peralta up to the top and A.J. Pollock into the 2-hole really fits both guys well. A.J. Pollock in 59 fewer starts in the 2-hole in the lineup has hit 4 more home runs and hit almost 50 points higher for a batting average. He was .285 as a leadoff hitter in 159 starts, .335 in 100 starts as a number 2 hitter.
A.J. took a look at a 3-1 fastball there. The count is full 3-2. Took something off that time and gets his first strikeout. Jake Lamb in the 3-hole. 268, 23 home runs, second in the major leagues with those 80 runs batted in. Fastball is there, and it's 0-1. Lamb hitless in his last 4 games, but he's walked 7 times over that span. Braves tried awfully hard to get Jake to expand the strike zone and swing at some bad pitches, but he just wouldn't bite. Walked 3 times in Monday's game against Atlanta. Walked twice on Tuesday, once yesterday.
Yeah, the D-backs lead the majors with 61 base on balls since the break.
Weaver, when he goes to his off-speed stuff, has had success so far. They're up there looking fastball. Goldie would be next.
I think these first at bats in the game against Luke Weaver are going to be kind of information gathering. Get back in that third base dugout after your at bat. Tell your teammates what you saw, the shape of the pitches, as Torrey likes to say.
Tommy Pham runs that down in left field, and Weaver works a 1-2-3 first. Zach Godley coming up from St. Louis. At Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks will be Zach Godley. Zach has set career highs in strikeouts in each of his last 2 starts. He's up against the St. Louis Cardinals lineup, brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Matt Carpenter will lead it off and play first base tonight.
Godley has been outstanding lately. Struck out 9 Braves in Atlanta. Then in his last start, 10 Nationals, a new career high.
I see him mouthing some words there to Chris Iannetta, maybe talking about how he wants to start Matt Carpenter right here.
And we got a little disturbance on the field, and now we're set to go. Nothing about this game is starting according to script.
We're in the loo.
You said it. So here is Matt Carpenter. Diamondbacks put the shift on. There's a fastball for strike 1. Here's a look at the defensive alignment. Jake Lamb just about toes on the grass at third. Marte at shortstop. Chris Elling's out there at second base in deep right field. Godley ahead 0-2. Carpenter, a .250 hitter this year. He's got 14 homers. He had a pair of hits and RBIs in the Cardinals win over the Rockies here last night. St. Louis swept Colorado. Now with 2 strikes, Lamb will move over into the shortstop spot with that shift on, closer to the second base bag. As you get a look at Zach Godley. 27-year-old right-hander, 6'3", 240. Out of Bamberg, South Carolina. So he's used to this weather. Carpenter able to check his swing. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
How does anybody get used to this weather? I was raised in this weather, but after you're away for a little while, can't imagine.
It's not pleasant. Clouds are starting to break up a little bit overhead, so that's something. Check swing roller that stays fair for Goldie. Got a hustle to the bag, and he gets there first.
Kind of an oddity here at the top of the Cardinals order. Matt Carpenter, Tommy Pham, Paul DeJong, all with 14 home runs, and Randall Grichuk in the cleanup spot with 13. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but it's kind of odd to have 4 guys at the top of the order, 1 apart in home runs.
Now here's one of the guys with 14 homers, the 2-hole hitter Tommy Pham. .312 on the year with 14 home runs. Pham had 5 hits in 3 games in a sweep over the Rockies. He homered here Monday. Tommy Pham, a guy who's been crushing fastballs over the last month, and at the same time has done a good job laying off breaking pitches, so Godley's going to have to be careful here. Chases a low fastball there, and it's 2-1. Pham is a pretty disciplined hitter. Guy's a nice player. He's got some pop. He hits well. He defends. He runs. Covers a lot of ground in the outfield.
Yeah, he's the main source of stolen base power, if you will, for the Cardinals.
Broke his bat, and that's going to drop into right center. The bat shattered into pieces. It's a bloop single for Pham.
You got to keep an eye on him over there. 13 out of 17 in stolen base attempts. Much like the Atlanta Braves, if you slow Pham down, the Cardinals are probably not going to run a whole lot. Yadier Molina is second on the team with 7 stolen bases.
Well, this is the guy with whom you really got to be careful. It's the shortstop Paul DeJong, who's having a sensational rookie season. He's got 8 home runs this month, the Cardinals rookie record. He has homered in each of his last 2 games and 4 in his last 5. Godley hits ahead 0-1. DeJong hitting .290 with 14 home runs.
Now, one thing he will not do is walk. 183 hit bats, only 4 walks on the season against 60 strikeouts. Another one of those guys you don't necessarily have to throw him strikes to get him out.
been hitting home runs. You can't blame him for wanting to swing. He's got home runs in 8 of his last 16 games, including each of his last 2. He homered in 3 consecutive games earlier this month, and he's homered in back-to-back games twice already this week. Stay hot. And he rolls that one through the hole and into left. Singles by Pham and DeYoung. 2 on, 1 out for Randal Grichuk.
Grichuk, another guy coming off a big night last night against the Rockies, had 4 knocks, 3 of them going to the opposite field.
Career high 4 hits for Grichuk last night in that Cardinals sweep of the Rockies, and he starts this series with a 6-game hitting streak. Tommy Pham at second, Paul DeYoung at first, 1 out. Like DeYoung, Grichuk has had the home run swing going as of late. He's homered in 6 of his last 10 games. Breaking ball, and it's 0-2. Godley, as often this year, been at his very best early in the ball game. 13 starts this year. He's given up just 2 runs and 5 hits in the first inning all season. But a pair of 1-out singles here start off this one. Bounce to third. Lamb steps on the bag for 1. Goldie got the scoop at first as they complete the double play, and Godley gets that ground ball to end the threat and keep it scoreless here in St. Louis.
A D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in a Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
About an hour rain delay to get this one started, but we've got some blue sky overhead now. Actually, still sticky and humid as we start the second inning. First of 4, the D-backs and the St. Louis Cardinals from Busch Stadium. There it is. It's clearing up. Lights are on here. Paul Goldschmidt will lead off the top of the second against right-hander Luke Weaver. Weaver worked a 1-2-3 first. Goldie 314, 21 home runs. He's hit safely in 3 straight games. This is part of the idea that Torey Lovullo had with this new lineup configuration. If you do get a 1-2-3 first, then Goldie has got one of the best on-base percentages in the game, leads off the second with J.D. Martinez right behind him.
Yeah, you hope there aren't too many of those 1-2-3 innings in the first, but if it does happen, you've got a really good leadoff man in the next inning.
And we know what J.D. can do with runners on base, as we saw yesterday. 2 home runs at Chase. Weaver trying to get him to fish for something, and Goldie, as usual, doesn't bite. It's 3-1. Goldie doubled twice, walked 3 times yesterday in that big 10-3 win over the Braves. Full count, 3-2. Base hit, rolls it by Colton Wong at second, a leadoff single, and here comes J.D. Martinez. Well, that's the whole idea right there.
Here's your leadoff man.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is you set your lineup with an idea of how things are going to line up, and this is what they're hoping for from J.D. Martinez tonight. Long home run to left field, and then a long home run to right field.
J.D. has 4 hits with the Diamondbacks. 3 of them are home runs, including his pair of homers yesterday at Chase Field in the win over the Braves. He hit safely in all 3 games against Atlanta. Martinez on the year with the Tigers and the Diamondbacks, 301 and 19 homers. There's that Weaver fastball to start him off at 0-1. From what we've seen so far with J.D., if he gets a low fastball, he'll hit it to right field or right center. And if he's up there with runners in scoring position, sometimes he'll take some pretty big swings. Can do a lot of damage when he's ahead in the count. He likes to really let it go when he's up in the count. I'm going to miss at that changeup, and it's 1-2.
Generally, when you play the St. Louis Cardinals, the running game it gets pushed to the back burner with Yadier Molina behind the plate, and Carson Kelly, at least through reputation, is every bit as good throwing out runners as Yadier Molina. Throughout his minor league career, threw out 33%. He won a Gold Glove in 2015 as the best catcher in the minor leagues.
Yeah, he was the starting catcher for the Pacific Coast League All-Stars this year. Goes fishing for a fastball that time, and Weaver gets his second strikeout.
Got that one by J.D. Martinez right there. He's sneaky fast out there, not lighting up the radar gun, but the ball seems to be coming out of his hand very fluidly, and has thrown some fastballs by D-backs hitters already.
Chris Owings at second base tonight. 272, 12 homers. Chris had an RBI double Tuesday against Atlanta. He had the day off yesterday. Chris trying to dig his way out right now. He's been scuffling. 3 for 35 in his last 9 games. No fastball there. Got the call from Sam Holbrook, and it's 0-2.
I'll tell you who's gathering information right now. First base coach Dave McKay. Now Luke Weaver, I'm sure there is a little bit of video compiled on Luke Weaver out there on the mound, but Dave McKay wants to get eyeballs on a new guy, somebody he probably hasn't seen much of, if any at all. He's trying to watch that delivery, watch that set position, see if he notices anything differently when Weaver throws to first base as opposed to going to the plate.
Caught looking at a fastball. 3 strikeouts for Weaver. Chris at this point is so worried with 2 strikes or concerned about either a changeup or a curveball there. He got caught looking at that mid-90s fastball.
You know, we talked about it with Dansby Swanson of the Braves when they were just in town. He's a little bit lost at the plate right now. I think you could say the same for Chris Owings. Just kind of in his own head, knows that teams are going to try to get him out with breaking balls off the plate low and away, and by thinking that, he ends up taking a lot of hittable fastballs.
Ketel Marte. They're really trying to keep Goldie close over there. 15 stolen bases. He's been caught 4 times.
Yeah, just the timing of Weaver out there on the mound. He's been unloading the ball in 1.25 to 1.35 seconds, which is usually a caution sign for a base runner over there at first base.
This is driven to center for Bader, and he runs it down. Weaver strands the leadoff single. Cardinals and Diamondbacks, no score in St. Louis. Look at your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks, Zach Godley, who begins tonight less than 20 innings shy of qualifying for the ERA title. And if Zach qualified right now, he'd have the 11th best ERA in the league.
He faced these Cardinals earlier this season, went 7 innings, gave up only 2 base hits and 3 runs in that game. He's gone 0-2 to 3 of the first 4 hitters he's faced in this ball game.
Here is the rookie center fielder. Only 2 games in the big league so far. It's Harrison Bader. And he takes strike 1. Bader, so far so good. 4 hits and 8 at bats, including a pair of doubles. Just brought up for the minor leagues on Tuesday. Bader had 3 hits in his start in center field last night, and the Cardinals went over the Rockies. Became a hero here Tuesday, his first game in the big leagues. He got a base hit, a double to open up the ninth inning and score the game-winning run on a walk-off 3-2 Cardinal win. Cardinals undermanned right now. They're without Dexter Fowler and Stephen Piscotty, both on the DL. Fowler went down earlier this week with a left forearm strain. Piscotty has a right groin problem. He went to Class A Peoria today. He's supposed to be there through Sunday, so it's unlikely we see Stephen Piscotty in this series. So that's more good news for the Diamondbacks. 2-2 on Harrison Bader. It's a bouncing ball to shortstop for Ketel Marte. Bader can really run, and that was close. He runs like a center fielder, but Marte gets the out. Here's your lineup for St. Louis. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Matt Carpenter with the leadoff man playing first base. Tommy Pham out in left field. Paul DeJong at shortstop. Randall Grichuk out in right field. We just saw Harrison Bader ground out to short. He'll be in center field. Colton Wong at second base, making his way to the plate right now. He'll be followed by the bottom third, Carson Kelly, the catcher. Greg Garcia, the third baseman, and the pitcher, the right-hander Luke Weaver.
As Bob pointed out, a bomb squad lineup for Mike Matheny today. Colton Wong chops the first pitch back to the mound. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks defensively. Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look.
A.J. Pollock in center field. David Peralta will be in left with J.D. Martinez in right. It'll be Lamb and Marte on the left side of the infield with Chris Owings and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Chris Iannetta getting the nod behind the plate tonight for right-hander Zach Godley.
Fowler and Piscotty both on the DL. A day off for Jed Jerko and a day off for Yadier Molina, which means Carson Kelly is the Cardinal catcher tonight, and here he is. Bader's only played 2 big league games. Kelly's only played 3. He's 1 for 7 this year. He played in parts of 10 games with St. Louis last season. A second-round pick by the Cardinals 5 years ago out of high school in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, just looking at the minor league numbers, it appears that Carson Kelly is a catch first, hit second kind of a guy, a .248 lifetime hitter at the minor league level.
Roller over the mound for Ketel Marte. Well, Zach Godley, 3 ground ball outs, a 1-2-3 second, no score from Busch Stadium. As we start the third, fan season tickets for next year on sale right now. Buy today and you can choose from the best seats for the lowest price. Current season ticket holders who renew early get to swing for their seats and secure raffle tickets for great prizes. Buy or renew online Your 2018 Arizona Diamondbacks season tickets at dbacks.com/advantage. Chris Iannetta behind the plate tonight. He'll lead off the third against Luke Weaver. Weaver so far has struck out 3 the first 7 he's faced. He's got a pretty lively fastball and a very good changeup. His first big league start this year. Chris Iannetta, 233, 8 home runs. 0 for 2 with a walk in his last start. That was Tuesday against the Braves at Chase Field.
Weaver looks like he would prefer to work quickly. Gets that throw back from Kelly behind the plate. He's right back up on that first base side of the rubber, ready to go.
Iannetta hits one high in the air, pretty deep right center. Bader near the warning track, and he's got it. We're allowed out number 1 to start the third. Not a whole lot of wind to speak of right now. That rain system is pretty much blown through, and it's still humid here, but pretty still. And Zach Godley is the hitter. That's 4 in a row retired by Weaver. There's a look overhead. Some breaking of the clouds, some blue sky as the local time gets up on what, close to 8 o'clock here. Still pretty light outside. There's a strike. Godley 2 hits on the year. Luke Weaver, 23 years old. He'll be 24 next month. First round pick by the Cardinals out of Florida State 3 years ago. Got 8 starts with the Cardinals last season as a rookie. Finished up 1-4 with an ERA near 6.
I didn't think it was possible, but Zach Godley works more quickly as a hitter than he does as a pitcher. He doesn't even get out of the batter's box.
Big cut at that one, and Weaver has his 4th strikeout.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
5 in a row set down by Luke Weaver. Here's the leadoff man, David Peralta. Popped up his first time. Late on that fastball, up and away. It's 0-1.
Yeah, I mentioned it before. A number of the Diamondbacks already have been behind that low 90s fastball, which tells me there's some deception in the delivery of Luke Weaver. I mean, that's a velocity that guys normally are right on.
40 pitches, 25 strikes so far. Headed for the left field corner. Pham runs out of room. Mike Matheny insists Luke Weaver has got a great fastball. Usually stays in the bottom of the strike zone. He's good at keeping the ball down. Where he's had trouble in the past, maybe trying to pick too much, didn't quite trust his stuff, trying to be too fine, too perfect all the time. Right back to the mound. Well, Luke Weaver, another 1-2-3 inning. At 6 in a row set down since the Goldie single. No score in St. Louis. so far through 2 innings. No score, Diamondbacks and Cardinals. As we start the home half of the third, our State Farm winning combo. Zach Godley not giving up too many base hits this year. He's right on this list with Sale and Kershaw and Scherzer.
That's a pretty impressive list right there for Zach Godley to be included in, and he deserves it the way he's thrown the ball this year. A lot of soft contact.
Greg Garcia has started third base tonight. Jed Jerko gets the day off. 232, 2 home runs. Zach Godley gave up a pair of 1-out singles in the first. Pham and DeYoung. Got Grichuk to hit into a double play to end the first. And a quick 1-2-3 second. Garcia is a guy who can play all over. Second base, third base, shortstop. Tries to bunt his way on, and it's 2-2. Pitcher Weaver is on deck. Well, Zach Godley 2 starts ago threw a lot of fastballs early in the game in Atlanta. Got hit pretty hard. Last week a lot of curveballs the first time through the order against Washington. Had much better results early in the ball game. Looks like he's had the sinker and the cutter going pretty well so far tonight. As Garcia bounces one into center field, a leadoff single.
Yeah, Greg Garcia is the grandson of former major league manager, and Dave Garcia had just about every job there is in baseball at one point or another. He did manage California Angels and the Cleveland Indians. Used to see Dave Garcia every time he went into San Diego. He'd always come down for batting practice, sit on the visitor side of the field, and renew acquaintances with all of his baseball friends.
Garcia, 7th round pick by the Cardinals out of Hawaii. Weaver squares to bunt. Lamb and Goldie charge in from the corners.
Now, Weaver's 5 for 13 in his career as a hitter. Still looking for that first sack bunt.
See where Lamb is, parked halfway in. Goldie holding Garcia on the bag at first. Pulls back and takes ball 2. Weaver's first at bat in the big leagues this season. This is just his 3rd major league appearance this year. The first 2 came in relief. Called up from AAA Memphis to take the start tonight for the injured Adam Wainwright. There's a strike, and it's 2-1. Having trouble getting that bunt down. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. The leadoff man, Matt Carpenter, is on deck. Two strikes is where Zach Godley loves to go to that curveball. Got him on the fastball. Iannetta hangs on to the foul tip, and Zach has his first strikeout.
MLB.TV every night, every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Matt Carpenter grounded out to first to lead off the ball game for St. Louis. Carpenter having a somewhat disappointing offensive season, 249 on the year. But he's been slowly turning it around this month. He's hit almost 320 in July. Ketel Marte, the shortstop, almost right behind the bag at second. See where Lamb is positioned, toes on the grass midway between second and third.
Hey, you see that little patch of white dirt just to Jake Lamb's right there at the edge of the infield grass. Must have been a hole in the tarp. That's that drying agent that they put on the field, and occasionally guys will walk on the tarp or somehow put a little mark in it, and eventually it turns into a rip, and then you get a wet spot on the field under the tarp. That's really the only place on the diamond that the grounds crew had to do any kind of repair work after the rains we had a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, the field looks to be in tremendous condition here. Remember when Rick Dempsey went out on the tarp that time for the Orioles during that rain delay and was dancing around? And
that happens a lot at minor league parks. For those of you fans in a minor league city and like to support your local team, you'll see stuff like that every time there's a rain delay.
Now in a 2-0 count, Lamb backs off. He's right near the second base bag. 2-1 now on Carpenter. A lot of communication going on out there with Lamb and Ketel Marte. Jake right next to second base umpire Jim Wolf out there. Just underneath the arch here in downtown St. Louis. An hour rain delay to start the ball game. No score in the bottom of the third. Just foul. Two and two on Matt Carpenter. This guy sees a lot of pitches. He's fourth in the majors in walks, so he doesn't swing and miss a lot. He doesn't chase bad breaking balls. Rarely ever expands the strike zone. Another one foul right in front of Oliver Marmol coaching at first. Carpenter, when the D-backs played the Cardinals at Chase Field late last month, was really not much of a factor in that series. He had one hit.
And Carpenter a little bit like Will Myers of the San Diego Padres in that he doesn't wear batting gloves. And you can usually tell how much extra hitting he's been taking by how much tape he has on his hands, just like Will Myers.
Some of those fingers taped up there. Still 2-2. Oh, Godley got him that time. Second strikeout in the inning for Zach Godley. 2 down.
Good breaking ball down and in that time. Carpenter trying to protect the plate with 2 strikes. That one just bottoms right out of the zone.
Boy, that's a good look at Godley's fastball. It just drops straight down. A lot of fastballs kind of have a hump up and then come down. Zach's doesn't do that. You can't tell it's a curveball when it's on the way. Just got some straight drop to it. Tommy Pham singled his first time up.
That's what a hitter looks for when trying to read a curveball. Most pitchers' curveball, when it comes out of their hand, the first movement is up, then it takes the break and comes back down. It's a more rounded breaking ball. As you said, Zach Godley, the ball basically comes straight out of his hand. It appears to be something other than a curveball when he lets it go, but then it takes that break very late in the hitting zone.
That's why it's been such an effective pitch for him with 2 strikes.
I'll tell you another guy who had a curveball like that when healthy was Mark Pryor of the Chicago Cubs back in the day. His curveball came straight out of his hand, looked like a fastball, and then just fell out of the zone.
Godley this year has had tremendous success getting hitters to chase pitches that aren't strikes. Almost 3/4 of the strikeouts this year have come on pitches outside the strike zone, and the vast majority of those have come with that curveball. And now he's ahead of Pham 1-2. Garcia still at first after the leadoff single. From Ionetta, he didn't go, says Greg Gibson at first, and Garcia is able to move up. 2-2 on Tommy Pham.
Well, we've seen this happen a number of times recently to catchers blocking a pitch, and Chris Iannetta in good position right there. It just hits the side of the chest protector, gets far enough away to allow Garcia to advance. Did everything right, just got a bad carom off the chest protector.
Once again, Godley goes to that curveball and a 2-strike count. Now Garcia's at second base with 2 outs. 2-2 to Pham. Diamondbacks dropped 2 of 3 against these Cardinals at Chase Field a month ago. First of 4 here tonight. Robbie Ray pitches tomorrow. Zach Greinke Saturday. Taijuan Walker on Sunday. Full count 3-2. Got him. Zach Godley, 3 strikeouts in the inning. Strands that leadoff single. No score in St. Louis. Cardinals scoreless. D-backs fans, if you can't watch the game on TV, you can stream it live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Just download the free app. Take Fox Sports Arizona and Goldie and the D-backs with you wherever you go. We're here in St. Louis, first of 4 against the Cardinals. A.J. Pollock leads off the 4th against Luke Weaver, who has retired the last 6 batters he's faced. Second time through the lineup now for Weaver. So far for the Diamondbacks, only 1 hit. Goldie single to lead off the 2nd. AJ sends one into the gap in right center. Bader with good speed over to cut it off. Pollock digs for second, and AJ is in there with his 19th double.
AJ's been hitting the ball hard from foul line to foul line. This time a line drive over the head of the second baseman Wong toward that gap in right center field. We mentioned the rain that fell a couple of hours ago. It was pretty hard for a while, and of course the tarp was on the infield, but the outfield took a lot of rain. That ball kind of hydroplaned when it hit the grass out there.
Well, here's Lamb, second in the majors in RBIs. AJ at second and nobody out. Jake flying out to left field to end the first. Diamondbacks in their last 10 games have now hit 28 doubles.
Wow.
A lot of extra base hits in that Atlanta series. Fastball from Weaver just missed, and Lambs had 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Weaver's stuff has been very good in the minor leagues. We showed you that 9-1 record at AAA Memphis, a 1.91 ERA, but the thinking here today was he might be more hittable around the plate at this level if the Diamondbacks weighed him out just a bit. A double by Pollock starts it off. Now here's the 3-0 to Lamb. 3-0 swing right there. Full count, 3-2 with Goldie on deck. Right behind Dave McKay at first. Weaver 50 pitches, 31 strikes. When he really needs an out, he generally goes to that changeup. Fastball missed. A double and a walk open up the Diamondback fourth. That's Jake Lamb's 8th walk in his last 5 games. Chance for Goldie here.
Think he's going to try to bunt him up?
Yes. Goldie's now hit safely in 4 straight games.
I don't even know if Goldie knows what sack bunt sign is.
I don't want him to know.
No,
don't tell him.
Not at all.
Keep him out of those meetings. Well, we certainly saw, Bob, you were all over this yesterday, signs that Goldie was coming out of his little slight offensive downturn. He hit a couple of balls hard, high off the right field wall yesterday at Chase Field. And for Goldie, that's always a really good sign.
That's usually a good sign for just about any hitter at the major league level. If you're driving the ball with authority to your opposite field, everything is in pretty good condition. I still like it every now and again when Goldie turns on an off-speed pitch on the inside part of the plate and hits one about 490 feet to left field.
Those are fun.
Oh, those are big fun.
Looks at a fastball right down the middle, and it's 1-1.
I think at some point this summer, Goldie ought to put down a sac bunt just to say he has one. He has 0 sacrifice bunts in his career.
He's suddenly going to want to start seeing corner infielders come in when he's up there. Is that where you're trying to get to?
Yeah, bait him to coming in. Yeah.
Swings through a fastball. That's where most of Goldie's swings and misses lately have been, on hittable fastballs in the zone. He's not taking bad swings. He's not chasing breaking balls out of the strike zone. When he does swing and miss, it's usually a fastball right around the hitting zone. Weaver has got the four-seam fastball. Sometimes he'll sink it. Sometimes he'll get the cut fastball. So that fastball can be anywhere from 90 to 95, 96 or so. 2-2. Back-to-back 3-2 counts for Luke Weaver, his first big league start this year. 2 on, nobody out. J.D. Martinez on deck. A.J. Pollock at second and Jake Lamb at first. Lays off that one. A double and a pair of walks. Load the bases. Nobody out. And here comes Martinez, who homered twice yesterday. And that's going to get Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, out from the Cardinal dugout.
Yeah, through the first 3 innings, Weaver was very aggressive attacking the strike zone, and for obvious reasons. You got the 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters in the Diamondbacks lineup coming up this inning, being very careful, nibbling around. He bounced a couple change-ups to Goldie, just missing his spots, pitching tentatively, and that's usually when you get in trouble.
And that's what Mike Matheny was saying before has been Weaver's #1 problem. They believe the stuff should play here as well as it plays anywhere else. And keep in mind, he was 9-1 in AAA this year, but sometimes he will try to be a little too fine, a little too perfect with every pitch, and that drives up the pitch counts. J.D. Martinez in these situations often gets very aggressive. He likes to swing very early in the count. Bases loaded, nobody out. He struck out his first time up. Sure enough, takes a swing at a first pitch fastball. JD hit safely in all 3 games of the Braves series this week. 4 for 14. 3 homers. He knocked in 7. Pollock at third, Lamb at second, and Goldschmidt at first. Stays aggressive. 0-2. Went with a fastball that time on an 0-2 count. "60 pitches, 36 strikes. Almost no wind to speak of right now. The flags in left center field are pretty much dead still. Got that ballpark village across the street.
Used to say on nights like this in St. Louis, the breeze is blowing straight down. That heavy, humid air here in the Midwest.
J.D. Martinez hits it toward the right field corner. And there it goes. A grand slam. J.D. Martinez. And it's 4-0 Diamondbacks. 2 homers yesterday and a grand slam here tonight. He's got 5 hits with the Diamondbacks, 4 home runs.
Well, that's a strong man when you can mishit a ball to your opposite field and still drive it out of the park. High fly ball right down that right field line. Grichuk gave it a look, got over there in the corner and realized he's just going to have to watch that one sail out of here for a grand slam.
Boy, what an impact he's made already. He's barely been here a week. J.D. Martinez. Talk about a jumbo jack. Free jumbo jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink at Jack in the Box. Mike Matheny's Cardinals down 4-0, 0-1 on Chris Owings, the second baseman tonight. Owings gets one in the air, pretty deep right field, but playable for Grichuk.
The Diamondbacks have 3 hits in this ball game. They've all come to the opposite field. Paul Goldschmidt's leadoff single in the second, A.J. Pollock's leadoff double here in the fourth, and the J.D. Martinez grand slam right down the right field line.
Here's Ketel Marte, who had an inside the park home run yesterday. He started shortstop tonight. He's 0 for 1. This is a dangerous Diamondbacks offense. We've seen them be dangerous for most of this year. A whole bunch of extra base hits in the Atlanta series. They won 2 out of 3. And a loud start to the 4th inning in St. Louis. A Pollock double, walks to Lamb and Goldschmidt, and a grand slam by J.D. Martinez. Ketel Marte rolls one foul in front of Dave McKay at first. They were calling J.D. Martinez and Ketel Marte yesterday. J. Mart and K. Mart.
I like it.
It's not bad. Ketel Marte yesterday, a walk, a double in the inside the park homer. He said that when he saw the ball carom off the corner of the right field fence, he got to second base, saw Tony Perez-Chica already waving him home, the third base coach, and he scored standing up.
Scored easily standing up. I mean, even broke it down the last 2 or 3 strides toward home plate. He was kind of leaning back and relaxing, just glided across home plate. You rarely see that on inside the Parker. There's almost always at least some kind of a play at the plate.
Yeah, when it hit that wall, it must have rolled and caromed a good 100 feet away from Rodriguez. High chopper back to Weaver. 2 outs. So he gets 2 outs after the Martinez grand slam. Here's Chris Iannetta. Well, you don't often see any team have an inside the park home run one day and a grand slam the next day. That's Diamondback baseball for you. Chris flying out to center his first time up tonight.
Stay tuned. You never know what you're going to see watching D-backs baseball.
It's been a lot of fun. 15 games over 500, leading the National League wild card right now. Both the Dodgers and the Rockies are off tonight. Colorado just got swept here in St. Louis this week.
A very short schedule in the major leagues tonight. Only 8 games around the majors. 3 of those have already gone final. Toronto beat Oakland in 10 innings. Cleveland beat the Angels 2-1. And we mentioned the Nationals just put a whooping on the Brewers 15-2 today.
Phil Mollica, the Iron Horse, our director and a St. Louis native, is back in his perch in the truck directing this ball game. And Phil's Yankees are losing 5-3. They're hosting Tampa Bay.
I like the scoreboard here at Busch Stadium. Not only do they give you the score and the hits, they tell you who's at the plate, how many guys are on base. That one's going to get through everybody on the left side of the infield for Chris Iannetta.
That one went under the glove of Garcia, who was in front of DeYoung. DeYoung, the shortstop, may have been screened a bit there. And it rolls into left. That's a base hit for Chris Iannetta.
Well, they figured with his speed he was going to beat it out anyway.
No question. They never would have had him. Nothing better than a catcher getting an infield single. Here's Godley, struck out his first time. Look out.
Yeah, infield hit is high on the list for catchers offensively. And another thing that's really high on the list is having the opposing team pitch out when you're a base runner at first. The ultimate respect.
Has that ever happened?
Oh, yeah, it happens. Usually not when the catcher's hitting in the 8-hole with the pitcher behind him, but occasionally it happens. I mean, just drawing a pickoff throw makes you feel pretty good about yourself.
Wow, they threw over. I must be looking good.
I must look fast today.
Speaking of which, I have noticed that the incessant throw over to first when Jake Lamb is over there, those have waned a bit lately.
They've kind of slowed down, and Jake's been on first base a lot recently with all the base on balls he's been drawing, but apparently they don't think he's going to run anymore.
Well, that ends the inning as Weaver strands the 2-out single, but J.D. Martinez, who hit 2 home runs yesterday against the Braves in Arizona, takes one out of here in St. Louis. A grand slam, and it's 4-0 Diamondbacks.
A 4-0 lead as we head to the bottom half of the fourth. Time to take a look at this day in Major League Baseball history, brought to you by Geico. We go back to 1930. I remember this.
Wait, what?
Ken Ash came out of the bullpen, threw one pitch, induced the batter Charlie Grimm to hit into a triple play. Ken Ash was then pinch hit for in the bottom half of the inning. The Reds took the lead in the ball game, so he not only induced a triple play on one pitch, he got a win for throwing one pitch.
Hey, if you can get a triple play on one pitch, you deserve the win. The inventor of the Ash bat, Ken Ash.
Mr. Efficiency.
That's not true. J.D. Martinez, a grand slam, and it's 4-0 Diamondbacks as Paul DeJong leads off the St. Louis fourth against Zach Godley. Got to be careful with DeJong. He's got tremendous power. 290 and 14 home runs, 8 homers this month. This is Paul DeJong's 50th career major league game tonight. He's a rookie. He has 14 homers in his first 49 big league games. That's the second most in Cardinals history, behind only Albert Pujols. So last year they kind of stumbled into Aledmys Diaz at shortstop, who was leading the league in hitting for a long time. He kind of fell off the cliff this year. They plugged DeJong in there, and all he's done is hit homers. In the hole, Ketel Marte backhands it, tough throw, and he got him. What a throw by Ketel Marte, deep in the hole, across his body, and they get DeJong at first.
Boy, it's one thing to wind up and make a strong throw, but when you can make a strong throw running away from the throw across your body and get that much on it across the diamond, that's very impressive.
Well, DeJong isn't going anywhere. Mike Matheny wants to have a look. Let's see if they did indeed get him. No challenge from the Cardinals.
Well, it was very close over there at first base, but apparently too close for Mike Matheny to risk losing his challenge this early in the game.
What a play by Ketel Marte. Here's Randall Grichuk, who hit into a double play to end the first.
That's what you call functional arm strength. A lot of guys have a strong arm if you let them take a crow hop and get a wind up and get a running start. But if you can make a strong throw the way Marte just did, when you can't do all those things, when you're running away from your target, when you're throwing back across your body off balance, those are the guys that have the cannons.
Broken bat flare, foul ground. There's plenty of it in this ballpark, but not. Jake Lamb got it. He's got the ball. Jake Lamb is in the seats. And Grichuk fouls out. The running Derek Jeter flying catch into the seats for Jake Lamb. Well, Jeter's number 2. There's 22.
Boy, what a nice play by Jake Lamb. Had a long way to run to get there. And look at that wall, knee high. That is such a safety issue for those corner infielders and outfielders going over there after foul balls. Fortunately, Jake was able to turn his back and stumble into that front row, holding the ball up the entire time.
DJ Rayburn got one hand on Jake's arm, trying to pull him up, and with the other hand, he signals out. So two tremendous defensive plays by the D-backs open up the fourth, and now here's the center fielder, Harrison Bader. Got a lot of foul ground here in this ballpark, more than most anyway. And Jake Lamb had just enough.
Now those low sidewalls, that's been a thing that's been under my saddle for a long time, because anybody that makes a play over there, you're going to be running at full speed or near full speed just to get there. As you mentioned, a lot of foul territory, and then that wall is knee high. Got to be a better way to protect the players.
Yeah, you're going to hit that full speed and go, you know what, over tea kettle into the seats and hurt a couple of fans. I mean, it's just a dangerous situation.
I mean, everybody likes to get the fans as close to the action as possible, and I'm sure those seats right down there in the front row are not cheap, but man, I would hate to have one of my players go over there and end up on the disabled list for the rest of the year just to make sure the fans had a good view of the game.
And then it's funny because you get to the outfield corners and there's almost no foul ground at all. The outfielder has the same situation. If he's running full speed chasing a ball toward the corner, you run out of room and there's nothing but wall. 2-2 now on Bader. I mean, look at that. You got maybe one step and boom.
And once again, any ball in that area, the corner outfielder is going to be running at top end just to get there in time to make a play, and then try to stop in that little bit of ground you have before crashing into that wall.
Harrison Bader, the center fielder, only his third game of the big leagues, just called up on Tuesday from the minors. This is a bloop along the line, and that one drops into all that foul ground out there. Zach Godley's given up just 3 hits so far, all singles. He's got 3 strikeouts. He's retired the last 5 Cardinals he's faced. Seven ground ball out so far through 3 2/3 for Godley. Bader grounded out his first time up tonight. This is just his 10th at bat in the big leagues. And Zach Godley gets the strikeout. That's his 4th. Diamondbacks through 4, lead it 4-0.
Almost like you kind of almost can, like, in a way, see into like the future almost with like the mind when you're like, you know, when you're so locked in and like visualizing. I mean, you know, when you're not locked in, everything's kind of blurry. It's kind of hard to like visualize it, but that's why they say, like, if you can visualize it and you can get it really clear, then you can actually go out there and do it.
And welcome back to St. Louis, Busch Stadium. Todd Walsh along with Steve Berthiaume and Bob Brentley. And that part of my most favorite pregame conversation in 31 years of broadcasting.
Wow, it sounded kind of out there a little bit.
With J.D. Martinez.
So he can see into the future.
Well,
Colton Wong had a play as it got behind Carpenter and threw him. Wong was there to back it up. Weaver a little late getting to the bag, but Wong dropped the ball anyway, and Peralta's aboard to start the fifth.
If I may,
please.
It's the art of visualization, and we noticed that when J.D. came over from the Detroit Tigers, he, like Paul Goldschmidt, sometimes you can see those guys before they come out to the batter's box, or the on-deck circle, I should say, almost in a trance, visualizing their at-bat. So I spent some time today at Psychology Today. You can imagine that, probably apropos, judging by the look on your face.
Do you have an appointment or something?
His regular weekly appointment.
That's right.
It's about seeing is.
How do you feel about that?
Don't know. Don't ever ask that. It's about seeing is believing. It is about training your mind, and as the story goes, the really elite athletes like Muhammad Ali, Jack Nicklaus back in the day, some of the athletes from the Soviet Union, that's really when it came into play. They have vivid and very detailed images of what they are about to try to accomplish. Paul Goldschmidt said to me that he studied that Matt Williams taught him this. J.D. Martinez said it was a coach in A-ball. They both remembered instantly where they began this process. And Paul's actually gone out and read many books on this. But it seems like a simple process. But we have seen this happen many, many times over the course of Paul Goldschmidt's career.
Well, when you get to this level, and these are the best of the best we're watching on a daily basis, this thing that sets the superstars apart from the rest of the players is that ability to kind of take their mind out of the equation, react to what they see, visualize it before they get in there and make it happen. And the guys like Goldie and J.D. Martinez and the best hitters in the game are able to do that a little better than the other guys.
I would say that if Goldie and J.D. Martinez are doing it, everyone should do it.
Yeah. Mandatory.
Seems to be working. Here's A.J., who doubled and scored his last time up. D-backs now with 5 hits.
It's a little harder to apply those theories to baseball because there's so many variables. A pitcher might throw any one of 6 or 7 different pitches. He might change speeds on it. I think of golfers all the time that say they stand over a putt and they could see exactly where the ball was going to go, and they just putt it on that line that they see in their mind, and it goes in the hole every time.
Garcia at third, Wong at second, wild throw, and A.J.'s aboard. Colton Wong couldn't get much on that one, but they get the force on Peralta.
If I could chase this just a little further, it's interesting. You know, Paul was saying how he remembered when Matt Williams came up to him and told him about this, and that Paul, and Bob, I'm sure you can empathize with this, Paul went out and had a day, had a few hits, and instantly that dictated the course, right?
Oh, sure.
You believe.
He's been hitting ever since.
Now, so much of this game is between the ears. You know, just the ability to let a batted bat or a bad swing go and focus on the next one. Just keep looking forward to the next opportunity you're going to get. Yeah, if you start grinding, and we've seen guys. We talked about Dansby Swanson from the Braves. We've seen Chris Owings recently. Obviously a little fuzzy for him right now, but it'll clear up.
90% of the game is half mental.
Okay, Yogi.
Dansby Swanson just got sent down to the minors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know the Braves were contemplating that to try to jumpstart that bat.
Lamb is flat out, walked, scored a run.
And when a hitter or a pitcher or any athlete is in that zone, it's a feeling unlike any other you'll ever get, and you wonder, why can't I call this up on command? Why can't I feel this way when I step into batter's box every night? But you just accept that it's going to be fleeting. It's going to come and go. And
AJ came and went. Going on first move. Everybody screamed for Weaver, who kept his head, stepped off, and they get Pollock.
Maybe Dave McKay thought he saw something in the delivery. AJ just turns and breaks for second base. Yeah, that's a nice job by Weaver out there on the mound. A lot of young pitchers would have balked when they saw AJ breaking for second base, but he did exactly the right thing. Just step off the rubber and deliver the ball to the middle infielder.
Base is empty. 2 outs now. 1-2 on Jake Lamb. I usually just visualize cheeseburgers. That works for me.
Real good at it, too.
Now, I think you should apply this for your fishing trip tomorrow. You can
I've already visualized
it.
I've seen it in my mind ever since we got on the plane yesterday.
See the fish under there somewhere. Carpenter at first will take that himself. Thanks to Todd Walsh.
Tuesday's lecture on sleep deprivation, guys. Okay, we'll see you soon.
In Texas last night, umpire Jerry Davis told Adrian Beltre, who was on deck, he got to stand on the circle, so he just moved the circle, and Jerry Davis moved Beltre out of the game. Come on, man, really? Nobody stands on the circle. It's too slippery. That's what all the players say.
Stand near the circle. I mean, we've seen a lot of hitters. I think back to Todd Helton in his days as a player with the Colorado Rockies, used to stand behind the umpire in the on-deck circle so he could track pitches from the guy he was about to face.
I mean, look at Carson Kelly right now. He's a good 10, 12 feet off the circle, closer to behind the hitter, just like Adrian Beltre was yesterday. Trying to get a better look at the pitcher. Nobody's yelling at him.
Yeah, those batting circles are really just for decoration. The one on the first base side has a Cardinals logo. The one on the third base side for the D-backs just has the MLB logo on it. Some teams have every team's logo, but yeah, you don't want to stand on them. Very slippery.
Yeah, because obviously, as we just saw, you can just pick them up and slide them across the ground. And also, it's a place to keep the bats and the, you know, the pine tar and the towel and all that stuff, the gripper, all that stuff can just sit right on the circle instead of being on the wet, muddy dirt. See, there it is. It's just a place to stash that stuff. You don't stand on it. That's stupid.
It had to be Adrian Beltre, too. You know, I mean, for me, he's a Hall of Famer whenever his playing career is over.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a slam dunk. But throughout his career, he has had the best time without ever cracking a smile. He is always dead serious when Elvis Andrus comes over and touches his head.
He hates to be touched on the head. That's the thing. Oh, that's 8 ground ball outs now for Zach Godley, who has retired 7 straight and 11 of the last 12 he's faced.
Yeah, good to see Zach getting some ground balls again. He went through a phase in June and July where the ground ball rate really dropped off the table, which was highly unusual for Zach, but starting to find that ground ball pitch once again.
Here's the catcher, Carson Kelly. Kelly grounded out his first time. Just his 4th game with the Cardinals this season. Yadier Molina has the night off. Kelly just under 70 games at AAA Memphis this year. Hit .283, 10 homers. Godley behind 2-0. Now Greg Garcia, the third baseman, actually maybe he must have seen the video because he's actually standing on the on-deck circle in front of the Cardinal dugout.
Well, Greg Garcia doesn't get to start as often as Adrian Beltre. He doesn't want to get thrown out of a game.
Well, that's the first Cardinal base runner since Garcia singled to lead off the 3rd. And now here he is with 1 out in the 5th. First walk issued tonight by Zach Godley. Did you ever get yelled at for doing that? Were they sticklers about that stuff?
No. I wasn't even interested in getting over there and trying to get an angle to see the pitcher. The on-deck circle for me was just a place to get loose. Get the catcher's gear off, get loose, swing the lead bat a little bit.
It just seems so odd and unbelievably random for Jerry Davis to suddenly enforce that rule to the letter of the law for no apparent reason, unless Beltre had been really sneaking well behind the hitter, getting the view of the pitcher, but it, based on the video, didn't appear to be the case there.
Well, the on-deck circle is a lot easier to see than the strike zone.
Godley falling off the mound a bit there, behind now 2-1 after walking Kelly with 1 out. Two and two. No Yadier Molina in the lineup tonight. Kelly the catcher. Jed Jerko also getting the night off. Greg Garcia at third base. You see Luke Voigt in the on-deck circle, ready to hit for the pitcher Weaver. And Godley, who walked Kelly, now full on Garcia, 3-2. There often is a time in the middle of the game, 4th or 5th inning, where things get away from Zach fairly quickly. Most times he recovers. Right there, gets the strikeout, his 5th of the ball game.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
2 down now. Here comes big Luke Voigt, who will hit for Luke Weaver. And sure enough, pinch hitter is announced, and right on cue, here's Mike Butcher, the pitching coach. Voigt, 253 homers. Used mostly as a bat off the bench, just 3 for 22 up there over his last 11 games. But he's got some pop.
Well, you got to keep an eye on this 9 spot in the Cardinals lineup. How about this, partner? They've gotten 53 RBIs from the 9 spot in the lineup. That's more than every other spot except for the 2, 4, and 8 slots.
So they either have really good hitting pitchers or really good pinch hitters.
Really good pinch hitters. 45 for 135 on the season. That's a .333 average with 20 runs driven in.
Well, Voigt has been a big part of that. He played 70 games this year with their AAA club in Memphis. He was hitting .322 down there with 12 homers when he got called up. And he's been a pretty effective bat off the bench. First pitch fastball, and it's 0-1.
Five strikeouts in the game for Zach Godley. The last 4 of those have come on that curveball.
Up the middle, but the shift was on. Owings flips to Ketel Marte covering, and Godley is able to strand that 1-out walk. We head to the 6th in St. Louis. 4-0 Diamondbacks. Grand slam has given the Diamondbacks a 4-0 lead. Hey, fans, don't miss one of the biggest matchups this year, August 11th through the 13th. Diamondbacks and the Cubs at Chase Field. Friday, August 11th, there's a free 90s post-game street concert with Sugar Ray's Mark McGrath. It's presented by Crystal Pepsi. Get your D-backs and Cubs tickets right now, but hurry, they're going fast. dbacks.com. Sold a lot of the tickets for that series. We should have another big weekend at Chase Field there. On to start the 6th inning out of the Cardinal bullpen. It's the right-hander Matt Bowman. 50 appearances. Nobody in baseball has more this year. Paul Goldschmidt, J.D. Martinez, Chris Owings due up 4, 5, and 6 here in the Arizona 6th. Goldie has single, walked, and scored a run tonight. There's strike 1. D-backs 1 game ahead of the Rockies for the first National League wild card spot. 12.5 games behind the Dodgers NL West lead. Both LA and Colorado are off tonight. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
I said it in the Atlanta series, and I'll say it again today. The first game of a series against a new opponent, you want to see as many of those arms out of the bullpen as you possibly can. 4 relievers for Atlanta in relief of R.A. Dickey in game 1 of that series back at Chase Field against the Braves.
Well, this could be a very unusual series for the Cardinals in terms of their starting pitchers. Diamondbacks just missed all-star Carlos Martinez. Adam Wainwright is on the DL, so that's why Luke Weaver got the start today up for the minor leagues. And Lance Lynn is supposed to start Sunday's game here for St. Louis, but there's a good chance he might be traded by then. Trade deadline is coming up on Monday. So Mike Matheny has really had to juggle some spots in his starting rotation. 2-2 to Goldie. It was pointed out by our crack staff that Michael Wacha starts tomorrow night against Robbie Ray. Taijuan Walker starts on Sunday, so we just missed a Walker-Wacha matchup.
Ooh, Walker.
Walker. 3-2 to Goldie.
Probably a good thing we missed that series, that game.
It's for the best. think we just proved that.
Oh, I tell you what, partner, the weather radar looking real good
for right now.
Oh, we're golden. There's nothing behind us for at least the next couple hours.
Next 3 days, our director, Phil the Iron Horse Malika, one of the great sons of St. Louis, has promised good weather for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
It's all on Phil then.
It always is. Big pause in Bowman's delivery there. Broken bat kind of jammed Goldie, it sounded like. Tommy Pham has it. That was just gross all day here today. Just sticky, yucky, humid, overcast. Started pouring rain about 1 hour before first pitch, and we had an hour delay to start. But not too bad right now. Starting to cool off finally. Still no wind at all out there. And here is J.D. Martinez, an opposite field grand slam his last time up. A.J. Pollock started the fourth with a double, walks to Lamb and Goldie, and then this. Just inside the foul pole in the right field corner. J.D. Martinez. His 20th home run this year. And his 4th with the Diamondbacks. 5 hits with the D-backs for J.D. Martinez. 4 home runs. Homered twice yesterday in a win over Atlanta and a grand slam here tonight in St. Louis. I wonder if he visualized that. Todd Walsh had some good stuff at JD before the game today. This is in the air to right field for Grichuk.
You know, I actually had a visualization back in '01. I had a dream. I think it was a dream. I don't know. I don't know if I even slept during the World Series, but Danny Batista in my dream hit a cut fastball up and away from Mariano Rivera into the seats in right field at Yankee Stadium, and that was my visualization of the winning hit in the World Series. It didn't work out that way, but every time Danny came to the plate at Yankee Stadium, I'd close my eyes and I could still see it in my mind.
Wow, that's a very specific visualization there.
Apparently, though, Danny didn't have the same visualization I did.
Well, see, there's when things went bad. Chris Owings has struck out, flied out 0 for 2.
Plus, I thought it would be poetic justice if the Yankees would lose a World Series because of that short porch in right field.
I'm with you there. That's not legitimate dimensions.
No.
Used to watch A-Rod hit those pop-ups. They look like it'd be a pop-up to second base, and suddenly it's a home run. CO is swinging a miss, and it's 1-2. The summer is slowed down for Chris at the plate. He's hitting .221 since the end of May. So it's been a slow June and July for him. A lot of recent strikeouts for Chris have come on breaking pitches, especially curveballs. And when he does get a fastball, it's just not driving it into the gaps like he did the first few months of the year. He got caught looking at a good fastball his first time up tonight for strike 3. There's that long pause from Bowman as he steps back off the rubber. D-backs have out hit St. Louis 5-3. They lead it 4-0. All the scoring so far on the J.D. Martinez grand slam. Just 3 hits for the Cardinals against Zach Godley, all singles. Torey Lovullo trying to figure out how to find some playing time for all his middle infielders. Right now he's got basically 4 guys for 2 spots. Shortstop and second, you've got Marte and Owings and Descalso and Drury. Got to get everybody playing time, so some guys have lost some of their at-bats lately. Good take there by Chris. That's a pitch that he would have swung at up until very recently. Now it's full 3-2.
Well, and until Chris either does that, lay off that slider low and away, or start to hit that slider the opposite way, he's going to continue to see it. If he continues to take it or starts to hit it, then teams will come back inside with the fastball that he's looking for.
Caught looking at a fastball in the outer half that time. Bowman a 1-2-3-6. That's 4-0 Diamondbacks. Defensive plays of the year turned in by Jake Lamb. D-backs third baseman are Chaz Roberts. Air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game, and he kept his cool, held on to the baseball.
Yeah, a different angle that time that we didn't see the time before. It looked like he was bobbling it ever so slightly as he tumbled over that railing, but got his bare hand on the ball and held it up as he flipped over the rail.
Zach Godley a 4-0 lead. He's given up only 3 hits so far, all singles. 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. Matt Carpenter, the leadoff man, leads off the St. Louis 6th. He's 0 for 2. Is this one down the right field line. Carpenter thought about going into second. J.D. Martinez got over there quickly, gets it back in, and it's a leadoff single for Carpenter, just the 4th hit for St. Louis.
Whoa. That's about as big a turn as you will ever see a batter take going around first base. I thought Carpenter was going for 2. He would have been thrown out by a wide margin at second base, so he slammed on the brakes and made it safely back to first.
Here's Tommy Pham, who was singled and struck out, the left fielder. Zach Godley, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 9 ground ball outs for Zach so far today. A little dribbler to shortstop. Marte for 1. Hit too slowly to turn 2. They get the force on Carpenter. Paul DeYoung, the shortstop. 1 for 2 with a single in the first. Zach Godley faced these Cardinals at Chase Field a month ago. Got stuck with a loss in a 4-3 St. Louis win, but he pitched pretty well, gave up only 3 runs on 2 hits and went 7 innings. He's been just as efficient here tonight for the most part. Torey Lovullo was kind of joking with us today. Said, you know, Zach Godley spoils us because he's so quietly effective at times, and all year he's pitched the way the Diamondbacks want their starters to pitch. Very aggressive, attacking the zone, trying to be as efficient as possible. Can occasionally get into trouble with a big inning or 2 in the 4th or 5th or so, but usually limits the damage, and then he gets right back on track. But he's been pretty solid so far tonight.
You know, for that matter, the entire D-backs starting rotation has spoiled the organization, working deep into ball games. We've seen the Diamondbacks for quite a stretch now, carrying only 7 relief pitchers in that bullpen, giving them 5 position players available off the bench. Most of the teams we play against carry at least 1 or 2 more relief pitchers, giving them a really, really short bench to pick from for pinch hitters or double switches late in the ball game.
And the D-backs ERA this year is 3.52. That's the 2nd best in the major leagues, behind only the Dodgers. And the starters have an ERA of 3.51, 2nd best in the big leagues. 2-2.
Boy, of all the things that Torey Lovullo and his staff have brought to this organization this year, I think telling the pitchers that I want 21 outs, I think that's probably been the biggest factor in the early going of the first half of the season and continuing here in the second half. If you can get long outings from your starting pitching, it keeps that bullpen in order. You can play some games with the lineup, move some guys around in the batting order if you know your starters are going to get you deep in the game.
Well, Godley loses DeYoung. 2 on and 1 out now for Grichuk. And there's some stirring in the Diamondback bullpen.
No, that's not easy to do. I mentioned Paul DeYoung, only 4 walks on the entire season coming into play tonight. That was number 5.
And Godley was ahead in the count 0-2 there. So Pham is at second, DeYoung at first. 1 out, Grichuk 0 for 2. Godley was 0-2 and then threw 4 straight balls. He just couldn't get DeYoung to bite. Broken bat, roller to second. Owings for 1. Marte loses his footing. Pham is back safely at third. That would have ended the inning. Ketel Marte had to do a little bit of tap dancing down there with DeYoung coming in from first.
Yeah, it looked like DeYoung got just enough a piece of Marte's foot as he came across the bag right there. No, he didn't hit him at all. He just kind of got his feet crossed up right there. Didn't have a real good grip on the baseball. Looked like it could possibly have been a double play.
But DeYoung, bona fide attempt to slide there straight into the bag. Zach now at 90 pitches, 55 for strikes. They're on the corners, 2 outs. And here's the rookie center fielder Harrison Bader. Dexter Fowler's on the DL with a left forearm strain, so it's Bader in center tonight. Just his 3rd game in the major leagues. Bader has grounded out, struck out 0 for 2. 4 hits in 10 at bats in the big league so far. Just called up for the minors on Tuesday. Got the start in center field last night in their win over the Rockies and had 3 hits. See Colton Wong well in front of the on-deck circle. Where's Jerry Davis when you need him? Swing and a miss. 0-2. Well, Godley was 0-2 on DeYoung and threw 4 straight balls. Lost him. Quickly ahead of Bader here. 2 on and 2 out. Tommy Pham is the runner at third. Randall Grichuk at first. Godley spot due up third in the 7th inning. Did he go? Yes, he did, Greg Gibson. And Godley strands two. He keeps it a 4-0 Diamondbacks lead. Here on a rainy, overcast, humid day in St. Louis, but so far so good. Once we did get started, Diamondbacks have a 4-0 lead as we start the 7th inning. And we remind you that NL West rivals, the D-backs and the Dodgers, will collide at Chase Field August 8th, 9th, and 10th. You can bring the whole family to the ballpark and see this matchup with the D-backs Value Pack. A D-backs Value Pack gives you a game ticket, a Subway sandwich, or a hot dog, and a Pepsi, all for only $25. Get your tickets, dbacks.com/value. Dodgers coming in August 8th, 9th, and 10th. 7th inning here, on to start the inning for St. Louis. It's the rookie right-hander John Brebbia. His 21st appearance so far has been very good, a 1.54 ERA.
It says in the Cardinals media guide that Brebbia was selected by the Cardinals from the Diamondbacks in the AAA phase of the Rule 5 draft back in 2015, originally drafted by the New York Yankees back in 2011.
Ketel Marte, the shortstop, 0 for 2, leads it off. John Brebbia, 27-year-old rookie. Been a long road for him to get here. He was playing independent ball for a couple of years. Marte knocks it into left field, a leadoff single. Just by the glove of DeYoung at shortstop. That'll bring up Chris Iannetta. Chris had a single his first time up. Looks like Zach Godley is in the on-deck circle, ready to bat for himself. Did a good job of getting out of trouble in the bottom of the 6th. There's no record of Brebbia ever pitching in the Diamondbacks system.
I'm guessing that he signed out of the independent league with the Diamondbacks, was property of Arizona, and that's when the Cardinals decided to take him in the AAA phase of the Rule 5 draft.
In 2014, he was playing in the Independent American Association for the Sioux Falls Canaries. How about that?
Canary in a coal mine. The police.
I almost said Devo. I was thinking working in a coal mine. And then the following season, he pitched for the Laredo Lemurs. Oh, that's a great name of the American Association. They're in the South Division. The Laredo Lemurs.
Go you Lemurs.
Last year pitched AA and AAA ball for the Cardinals, and this year's been very good at the big league level. Yeah, signed with the Diamondbacks as a free agent at the very end of the 2015 season. After he was in independent ball following his release from the Yankees. Netta lifts this one to short right. Grichuk coming in. Colton Wong going out. Nice over the shoulder basket catch there for the first out in the 7th. And Godley will hit. What do you think of this?
I like it. You know, I said it just in that last half inning. I like the idea that Torrey expects 21 outs or more out of his starting pitcher. And even in a ball game like this, where Zach Godley bumped up against it a little bit there in that 6th inning, he's willing to send him up there, probably to put down a sac bunt right here and then go back out to the mound in the bottom of the inning.
Greg Garcia expecting that. He's in several steps on the grass from 3rd. Carpenter charges from 1st. Godley bunts at first base side. Carpenter will settle for the out. They move Marte along. 3-4 on the sacrifice. Marte at 2nd with 2 outs. And here's David Peralta. David singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Twenty hits in his last 15 games, David Peralta. So Godley gets the bunt down. No one throwing yet in the Diamondback bullpen. Single can tack on a run right here.
I mean, we saw a perfect example of it in yesterday's ball game. Patrick Corbin took the at bat for himself in the 5th inning. It was up to about 97 pitches in the ball game at that point. Went back out and gave Torey Lovullo one more 1-2-3 inning in the 6th before turning it over to the bullpen.
Yeah, Patrick, I think, had really earned Torrey's trust at that point because he walked Rodriguez to lead off that 5th inning. Then got 3 straight outs and actually retired the last 6 he faced in that game. Another very encouraging start for Patrick. 1-1 on Peralta. David belts that one to center. Bader gets over there. And Brevia strands the leadoff single. We stretch in St. Louis. It's 4-0 Diamondbacks.
Todd Walsh, and welcome back. And Steve, with you, I have to commend you for something you did during yesterday's telecast. You solicited out of Bob Brenly, and there's a Topps baseball card to remind us all of his career in San Francisco, that back in the day, and you can see there, it says on the back of his card, he had a game-winning inside the park home run on August 29th, 1984 at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Now, why do I bring that up, you might ask?
Well, we had an inside the park home run yesterday.
Yes.
Cattell Marte. Here's Colton Wong to lead off the bottom of the 7th.
However, and trust me, I scoured YouTube late into the night. I watched at least 2 or 3 Giants Expos games that do exist online.
I love watching those.
They're great.
Awesome.
None with Bob Brenly hitting an inside the park home run. We talked to the Giants broadcast crew and the Kuiper cartel, and they don't have video evidence of said.
Are you doubting the validity of this?
All I'm saying is the only thing that we have is truly an artist rendering on the back of a Topps
the little
baseball
cartoon
card.
BBs with no mustache.
Yes. I believe it happened.
Oh, it happened.
Broken bat grounder to Chris Owings. I used to love the little cartoons in the back of the baseball cards. It would say, you know, Bob enjoys fishing. and there'd be a guy in a baseball hat with a fishing pole or something.
And there actually is our artist rendering. As I tweeted,
Wow.
we fired the artist. We wanted an actual drawing. We got stick figures.
That's about as good as that famous Tom Brady courtroom sketch. Remember that from last year or so?
I just thought you did a fantastic job of bringing the truth from Bob yesterday and took him down that inside the park home run wormhole.
Well, these kids nowadays, they don't understand that way back in the 80s, not every game was televised. I mean, even locally, we had a flagship station in San Francisco that would carry about 35 or 40 games a season. Occasionally, you'd get on the Saturday game of the week, which was always a big deal, but there were many, many games. There were no cameras, there were no announcers, there was nothing. You were just out there playing baseball.
Well, and then it was a big day every Saturday when This Week in Baseball would come on with Mel Allen.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Then you'd get your fill of highlights.
Play that great music. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Twib
Pop
notes.
up behind second base. Twib notes.
That's why it was always such a big deal if you happened to be on that Saturday game of the week, and Joe Garagiola would always come and talk to the catchers because he wanted to find out about the pitching staff, who's throwing well, who's not throwing well. And that's when I first got to meet Joe, when he was still doing those Saturday game of the weeks.
Yeah, and if you were a kid in the suburbs, Joe Garagiola, Tony Kubek, they were the voices of national baseball.
Yep.
It got so deep last night, Steve. I went to the Marv Albert Wild and Wacky World of Sports clips on Letterman.
Wild and Wacky,
and
Dave Katz, our crack staff.
Yes. And there was a Bob Brenly heading on one of them, and it was a foul ball that came down and just missed your head at the last second.
Oh, that was Chris Brown's fault. That wasn't my fault.
Still remembers.
Because believe me, as a catcher, if I had to stray too far away from that dirt behind home plate, I was looking for one of the corner infielders to call me off. And I was camped underneath that ball, ready to catch it. And at the last instant, I heard a voice say, I got it. So I got out of the way. And he didn't catch it.
Good fundamentals, all that is.
Pop-up priorities.
Yeah. Ray Garcia now. Did you get that baseball card out of the garage?
No, not that one. No, that's a little past my time.
How was the garage?
Well, on Sunday, I'm going to blow your mind with something from the garage. I'm just going to share.
I'm terrified now.
Yeah.
Is it the big ball of string?
No, I can't ever get that on the chart.
How big is that now, by the way?
It's miles. Actually, you know what? I saw my first major league game in person here, actually across the street at the old Busch Stadium. I had the scorecard, showed it to Torey Lovello today, and we had a wonderful conversation about remembering that first day when you walked into a major league stadium.
Well, Zach Godley gets his 7th strikeout. He gets his 21 outs, and he leaves the 7th leading 4-0. You can pull that off.
I don't get along well with birds.
What happened?
Oh, they soil my backyard terribly.
Oh, well, yeah. Believe me, I know how you feel. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Game 2 of this 4-game set tomorrow night. Robbie Ray on the mound for the Diamondbacks against Waka Waka for the Cardinals. Diamondbacks live pregame show comes your way at 4:30 in the afternoon. First pitch at 5:15 on Fox Sports Arizona. Zach Godley just outstanding tonight. 7 scoreless innings. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. He gave up only 4 hits, all singles. And here from the Cardinal bullpen, their 3rd reliever of the night. Just off the DL, he had a cervical spine strain. That sounds dangerous. He also had a couple of other injuries this year, so 37 appearances for Kevin Siegrist, the left-hander. A.J. Pollock leads off the 8th. 4-0 Diamondbacks. All the scoring in the 4th inning on a J.D. Martinez grand slam, his 4th career grand slam. A.J. led off that 4th against Luke Weaver with a double. Jake Lamb walked, Goldie walked, and Martinez with 2 strikes hit an opposite field home run just inside the right field foul pole for his 4th career grand slam and his 20th home run this year. Fastball missed, and it's 1-1 on A.J. Four runs, 6 hits for the Diamondbacks. 0-4-0 for St. Louis. Lays off the 2-2. Full count. Jake Lamb on deck. A.J. base hit. Pollock's 2nd hit tonight, a leadoff single. That'll bring up Jake Lamb. Jake 0 for 2. He walked and scored in that 4-run D-backs 4th. Jake hitting 133 versus lefties this year. He does have 4 home runs against left-hand pitchers. Swing and a miss at that fastball. 0-1.
Yeah, Siegrist does not present the same kind of challenge as some other lefties, as you see Archie Bradley beginning to warm up very slowly out there in the bullpen in left center field. Siegrist very pure, throws right over the top, doesn't have a lot of movement on his fastball. Of course, the breaking ball might give Jake some issues, but if he can get a heater, he should be able to handle it.
Well, Siegrist, since he came off the DL, has struck out 8 of the last 16 batters he's faced. And he's pretty good at generating ground balls for double plays when he really needs one. Ahead of Lamb, 0-1. AJ a little fidgety down there. He looks like he wants to go. 14 stolen bases this year. He's only been caught twice. Jake Barrett has joined Archie Bradley warming up at the Diamondback bullpen. Bouncer to second, Colton Wong. AJ ran right in front of him there. They almost collided. So Pollock at second, one out for Goldie, who has singled, walked, and scored a run. He's 1 for 2 tonight. No one warming up in the Cardinal bullpen, so Mike Matheny going to let the lefty Segrist face apparently both Goldie and J.D. Martinez, who's on deck. AJ takes off for third, and he is out of there. Didn't get a great jump, and the rookie Carson Kelly throws him out from behind home plate.
Yeah, that's not a good jump at all that time by AJ. If you're going to try to steal third, you have to have some movement going toward third base as that ball's being delivered and you make your break. That time he was caught flat-footed on his primary lead and just tried to outrun the throw, but Carson Kelly put it right on the money.
Sure did. That was a heck of a throw by Carson Kelly. Kelly playing only his 4th game with the Cardinals this year, up from AAA Memphis, where he was the starting catcher for the Pacific Coast League All-Stars this season. Goldie down 0-2. Drops that one into left field. Paul Goldschmidt aboard for the 3rd time tonight, a 2-out single. Goldie looks a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference has been, if there was something in batting practice or maybe during the course of the game where things just kind of fell into place and the timing and the rhythm was there and he had that feeling once again, but he has really been barreling it up the last few days.
J.D. Martinez, a grand slam in the 4th, has been all the scoring in this ball game so far. His 20th home run this year.
And that slam by J.D. Martinez back in the 4th inning means he hit a slam for the Tigers earlier this year, one for the Diamondbacks now. A grand slam in each league. That's he's the first guy to do that since Yoenis Cespedes did it back in 2015 for the A's and the Mets.
Hit a grand slam against the Baltimore Orioles back in May of this year. 4 career grand slams. Fastball is a strike, 0-1. So J.D. Martinez, 5 hits with the Diamondbacks. 4 of them are home runs. 2 homers yesterday, a grand slam here tonight. So far he's got 4 homers and 11 RBIs as a Diamondback. He's been here a week.
Diamondbacks with runners in scoring position this evening, something they've had some issues with over the past couple of weeks. Well, they've only had 2 at-bats. They're 1 for 2. That was the home run by J.D. Martinez. They've also drawn a couple of walks with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, that grand slam came at a 2-strike count. Center field for Bader. Bottom 8 on the way from St. Louis. D-backs holding a 4-0 lead. We may have seen the ultimate Zach Godley start. 7 scoreless innings. He gave up only 4 hits, all singles. A walk and 7 strikeouts. He had 12 ground ball outs tonight.
12 ground ball outs, 2 pop-ups, including the one Jake Lamb made that tremendous catch over there on the third base side. 7 strikeouts in the game. 6 of those strikeouts came on curveballs. He really had it working tonight.
Archie Bradley, bring in the beard. It's the ash line call to the bullpen. Archie out there to start the bottom of the 8th. His 38th appearance of the year. Pitcher spot will lead it off for the Cardinals. And Jose Martinez, 6'6", 215, big right-hand hitter, will lead it off. He homered here Monday against Colorado. He's been a very effective pinch hitter this year, 8 for 16. Including a pair of pinch hit homers.
We're looking over this box score for Zach Godley tonight. I can't even recall a hard hit ball. Gave up 4 singles. A couple of them were just ground balls that dribbled through the infield. A pop up that dropped in front. They just didn't hit him hard tonight.
Outstanding. Very efficient. Archie jumps ahead 0-2. Martinez hitting .282 on the year. He's got 6 homers. So Archie pitch 1 inning Tuesday night against Atlanta. He worked tonight. Gave up a Matt Kemp triple in that inning. Only threw 14 pitches. This is bounced to first for Goldie. Here's Matt Carpenter now, the leadoff man. Carpenter singled in the 6th inning, one of just 4 hits tonight for the Cardinals. Ketel Marte, the shortstop, moves just over on the first base side of second. Chris Owings well back of the outfield grass. There's the strike. Jake Lamb almost in the shortstop spot.
Well, you watch Matt Carpenter, that bottom hand is well down over the knob of the bat. He really tries to get as much leverage as possible. That right hand, a couple of fingers hanging off the bottom of the knob.
How does that get you? Leverage?
Well, it's like a fulcrum. You know.
Don't use big words on me. Don't flash that Ohio U education.
I always wonder why a guy just didn't get a longer bat and hold it down at the knob where you're supposed to, but you can clearly see the little finger and ring finger right down on that knob.
So it kind of, it's almost like buggy whips it?
Yeah, just you get a little more barrel driving through the hitting zone, ideally.
Not in this case, however. Archie strikes him out, 2 down.
And you also notice he didn't choke up with 2 strikes. We see Goldie down on the knob when he starts his at bat, but once he gets to 2 strikes, he chokes up about an inch off the knob of the bat to try to have a little better bat control. Not the case with Matt Carpenter.
Tommy Pham singled in the 1st inning against Zach Godley. Cardinals only 4 hits, all singles. They've left 5. 8 hits for the Diamondbacks. They've stranded 4. D-backs in the 9th inning will have Owings, Marte, Iannetta due up 6, 7, and 8 pitcher spot after that. Tried the knuckle curve that time, and it's 2-2. Trying to get a dry grip on that ball. It's awfully humid here today. Archie's in a full lather. Fastball missed. It's a full count, 3-2. With Paul DeJong, the shortstop, on deck. Got him. Iannetta hangs on to the foul tip. We hit the ninth. It's 4-0 D-backs. Game summary. Two headliners here. One is J.D. Martinez, who hit his 4th career grand slam in the 4th inning. That has accounted for all the scoring tonight. The other headliner, Zach Godley, who was just outstanding. 7 scoreless innings. He gave up only 4 hits, all singles, had 7 strikeouts, and recorded 12 ground ball outs.
Just a tremendous start for Zach Godley. Nice job by Archie Bradley so far in his 1 inning of work. We'll see if he goes back out there.
Well, we're getting a good look at the St. Louis bullpen in the first game of this 4-game series. Their 4th reliever on tonight. It's the left-hander Tyler Lyons, his 25th appearance.
2-seam, 4-seam fastball. He'll throw a lot of sliders. Also has the straight changeup he'll mix in there from time to time.
Chris Owings batting 6th tonight will lead it off. Owings, Marte, Iannetta due up in the Arizona 9th. CO 0 for 3. Chris has always been an aggressive hitter. He's never walked very much at all, even in the minor leagues. But he's now gone 72 plate appearances without a base on balls. His last walk was July 2nd. And it seems like when you're in the funk that he's in right now, when you do try and get patient and see some pitches, you end up looking at hittable fastballs. And that's what's happened to Chris in a couple of at-bats here tonight. And right away he's down 1-2. Torrey has been really good about having sit-down conversations with guys who are fighting it a little bit right now. Brandon Drury's been going through that just a bit. Chris Owings, it doesn't go unnoticed by the manager, and he tries to have very positive conversations and frank conversations at the same time. But he wants these guys to know when you go in there and talk to them, it's a safe place. He wants it to be a safe place, that office, where you can say anything and nobody's going to hold anything against you, and you can be honest with each other about what's happening and how to fix it. He really wants to cultivate that in this clubhouse, and it seems to work really well.
Well, and at the same time, make it be known that maybe he's not happy with your performance recently, and it could affect your playing time moving forward. That's just the nature of professional baseball. We're all about results.
He's had that conversation with Brandon Drury where he's told him, I'm going to pull back on some of your playing time because the defense has struggled a bit and you haven't been the same guy at the plate. There's a ground ball to shortstop for DeYoung. And Torrey said Brandon was absolutely great about it. Looked him in the eye the whole time and said, look, if I do what you're asking me to do, can I get my playing time back? And Torrey immediately answers, absolutely, of course. We expect you to do better than you've been doing. Right? Really talented player.
There's an old saying in this game, it's one thing to get to the big leagues, it's another thing to stay in the big leagues. And once you get here, you're expected to perform at a level, you know, depending on your teammates and how you fit into the grand scheme of things, but everybody's expected to carry their share of the load.
And Brandon Drury was a big top of conversation for Torrey with the media before the game today. People were asking about his playing time. There's Brandon, maybe getting ready to hit for the pitcher here. With Iannetto on deck and then the pitcher spot after that. And Torrey told reporters, look, I had a conversation with Brandon several days ago about pulling him back. He wants him to work on things and not worry about results so much. Just grow and learn. You're a young player. You're a good young player. And you've had a good offensive year in spurts. Just keep growing and learning. There's going to be times like this. And he said Brandon absolutely handled it great. Let's go down to Todd.
Yeah, Steve, I was there when he did that, and tomorrow on Diamondbacks Live, I think it's a fascinating dialogue from Torey Lovullo. He went about 5 or 6 minutes just talking about that particular meeting with Brandon Drury, and we will air a good portion of that on the pregame show. There's a strikeout, a swing and miss. If you're a fan of the human condition, I think you need to hear that tomorrow.
Brandon is wound up really tight. A lot of his teammates would joke about that. He eats, sleeps, drinks baseball. And so, and that's his world. And when your world gets shaken a little bit, like it's been the last month or so, that's a big thing for a young guy at this level especially. And he said, if I do what you ask, will it change my playing time in a positive way? And yeah. And Torrey was also very clear about one point. Look, he's not been benched. Nobody's been benched. Let's make that loud and clear. Nobody's benched. We're just pulling back with certain guys in certain spots. That's all. I think that's a pretty big distinction there, too.
Well, as Torrey has shown throughout the first half and the first couple weeks here of the second half of the season, everybody on that roster is expected to do something every night to help the team win a game, whether it's a pinch hitter late, a pinch runner, a defensive replacement, a pitcher out of the bullpen, whatever the case may be. Everybody in uniform is expected to be ready to perform. He's mixed up his lineup. He's moved guys around. Very fortunate in the fact he's got some very flexible players that can play multiple positions.
Yeah, trying to get to 4 middle infielders through there consistently and only get 2 spots.
Yep.
Really, I mean, obviously you can put Descalso some other places, but now that you've got J.D. Martinez, a lot of those outfield starts go away for Daniel, and along with that go some of the at-bats. So now he's got to find at-bats for him at second or third base. 2-2 on Chris Iannetta. And they want Ketel Marte in there. We've seen the bat. We've seen the tremendous defense at shortstop. Seen him run the bases. You want him in there for a lot of reasons. And we know what Descalso can do. He's given the Diamondbacks tremendous at-bats this year. And he's looked pretty good at second base, too. The Lions 2 strikeouts and a 1-2-3 ninth. Bottom 9 here in St. Louis. D-backs holding a 4-0 lead. Village across the street from left center field here at Busch Stadium as we hit the bottom of the 9th inning. Diamondbacks trying to take the opener of this 4-game set against the Cardinals. They lead it 4-0. And on to close this one out is Fernando Rodney. It's been a while for Rodney. He last pitched Friday. Is that right? Yeah, Friday in the series opener against Washington. Worked only 1 inning and worked a 1-2-3 ninth. It's the Ash line call to the bullpen. So, boy, Bob, really the second half of the year so far, Rodney hasn't pitched a whole lot.
Well, there haven't been a lot of save opportunities. Obviously, the Diamondbacks have either put 12 on the board and won in a runaway, or they've been behind and no need for Rodney to come in and try to save the ball game. Need to get him back in the mix.
He'll work to DeYoung, Grichuk, and Bader. 3, 4, and 5 due up in the St. Louis 9th inning. Cardinals so far only 4 hits in the game, all singles. 7 scoreless from Zach Godley. Archie Bradley a 1-2-3-8. And now here's Rodney for the 9th.
Partner, I have one more this day in baseball history for you. It was in the Cardinals notes.
Yeah.
On this day in 1983, the Cardinals tied a club record by stealing 9 bases in a game against the Giants.
Oh, no.
Only 2 of them against me.
I was going to say, yikes. Well, who was the other guy?
Well, John Rabb, who was one of our catchers back in the early 80s, a really good offensive player, had some throwing issues, had the yips, wasn't real accurate to second base. And you know, back in the early 80s, the Cardinals were basically a track team, and they really took advantage. They stole 7 bases against John Rabb early in the ball game, and Frank pulled the plug and put me behind the plate. I had started at first base that day, and they stole 2 against me.
That was 83, you said,
yeah,
right?
83.
Our director, Phil Mollick, getting that wrong. Close enough, Phil.
Well, the Cardinals didn't win anything in 83, so there's no banner up there.
They got a whole bunch of other ones, though.
They sure do.
DeYoung has singled and walked tonight. High fastball. Got to be careful with Paul DeYoung. There you go. The Gas House Gang, Dizzy and Daffy, Bob Gibson, Tim McCarver, Ozzie Smith, the whole thing. All the way up to David Freese in 2011. 1-2. Paul DeYoung has homered in each of his last 2 games and 4 of his last 5. 14 homers in his first 49 major league games. That one is pulled foul. That's second most in Cardinals history, behind only Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols and Paul DeYoung. Who knew? This guy's had a big year, especially here at Busch Stadium. He's hitting .380 at home this year. And his slugging percentage in his home park is almost .750. Wow. Does a lot of damage in this yard. That's a fair ball. Long throw for Lamb. Oh, DeYoung beats it out. Jake really had a long throw, accurate there. But DeYoung able to get up the line, a leadoff single.
This happened a couple times recently to Jake, where he's caught backpedaling as he makes the play way behind the bag at third that time, and just couldn't get enough on the throw to get DeYoung at first base.
5th hit for the Cardinals. Here's Randall Grichuk, 0 for 3. Grichuk's got a 6-game hitting streak on the line. He homered in 4 consecutive games to begin that streak. He's coming off a 4-hit night last night in their win over the Rockies. Grichuk is a guy who will get himself out. He's not the most disciplined hitter ever. Like that. Fastball blows him away, and there's one down. Here's Harrison Bader, the rookie center fielder, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Bader has only 11 at-bats in the big leagues. This is just his 3rd game. Brought up from the minor leagues on Tuesday. Rodney throwing strikes, 10 pitches, only 2 balls. Here's that split changeup, and it's 0-2. He's had 2 strikes on every hitter so far.
I always found it very impressive when a closer like Fernando Rodney hasn't pitched in a week and still comes out of that bullpen pumping strikes. You'd expect them to be a little rusty, maybe their command to be a little off, but Fernando just hammering away at that strike zone tonight.
His blow-ups have been very, very few and far between, but they've been at the time almost catastrophic, so it seems a lot worse than it is. But he's, for the most part, been a strike thrower all year long. Occasionally just loses it completely, but if you think about what they got, what they're paying for him, and what they're getting, it's been a very good signing. Here's another strikeout. Went to that split finger changeup. 2 down. Here's Colton Wong, the second baseman. Rockies just added a bullpen piece yesterday. They picked up Pat Neshek from the Phillies. Trade deadline is coming up on Monday. Wong 0 for 3 so far. He's grounded out 3 times. Todd Walsh standing by. Diamondbacks live postgame show right after our ball game. Get reaction from inside the clubhouse. You hear from the skipper, Torey Lovello. Good way to start this long 3-city road trip. First of 4 against the Cardinals. After that, we got a day off Monday, then 3 against the Cubs at Wrigley starting next Tuesday. We finish up with 3 in San Francisco next weekend. D-backs, if they can get the win here, will move to 16 games over 500 and a game and a half ahead of the Rockies for that first National League wild card. Both Dodgers and the Rockies are off tonight. Robbie Ray and Michael Wacha, the starters tomorrow. Diamondbacks live pregame show at 4:30 in the afternoon. 5:15 first pitch for that one. 2-2 on Colton Wong. D-backs trying to lock down win number 59 on the year in game number 102. Got him. Fernando Rodney, 3 strikeouts after the leadoff single. He shuts the door on a 4-0 Diamondbacks win. It's the 4th time this year the D-backs have shut out their opponent, and the first time since May 30th in Pittsburgh.
Good start to a long grinding road trip. Very clean ball game today. Very well pitched by the Diamondbacks. Some timely hitting by J.D. Martinez. All 4 runs in the ball game came on one swing of the bat.
Cardinals can manage only 5 hits in